Hi, and welcome to the Australian Gamer Show. I'm Matt.
And I'm Yug.
Tonight we're going to be talking about... Hey, let's swap. You do this one.
Okay, Wii Sports Resorts.
AION.
PS3 too expensive?
Okay.
There's a question mark at the end.
I know. Dissidia Final Fantasy.
And CNC4 in development.
Yes, all of the above. It's been a long time since we spoke to you fine people.
It's been too long.
It's been too long. I've wept. We've been busily weeping alone.
What?
Because we couldn't do a podcast.
Of
That's
course.
Why we were so upset with our inability to do a podcast, we couldn't do a podcast.
I like to say it was just we were so shocked by Phil and Oracle's podcast that we just felt it was going to be a difficult one to top.
How do you follow that?
I don't know.
Honestly, without just high-fiving on the podcast.
I seriously got something out of that.
That look at the elbow
if
thing?
you look at people's elbows when you high-five them, you'll always get it. But admittedly, I don't miss a high-five all that often.
I don't think this is information that I need because no one ever high-fives me anyway.
No.
So one day I'll do something that deserves a high-five.
That's not true. There was a phase you and I went through when we were living in the same place in Newmarket when we were watching Scrubs, and every time, it was the Todd.
Yeah.
And so every time it's like, hey Matt, high-five, wha-bam, and then he'd click afterwards.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, but we didn't do that. That was Todd, not us.
No, you did it to me.
Really?
Yes.
Wow, I'm a dork.
Yeah, I know. So yeah, we got stuff to talk about, but yeah,
we've got 3 weeks of stuff to talk about.
We do apologise for lack of updates on the site, lack of podcasts, lack of everything. The problem is
a general overall lack.
We have been busy. The problem is that the rest of the AG crew have actually been doing reviews and features and content and stuff like that, but none of that stuff can go up until I've done the graphics for them.
Yeah.
So
we just couldn't be fucked.
Yeah, really. Well, I mean, who cares about the rest of them
reviews,
anyway?
content.
But obviously podcasts have suffered as well. We've been doing other stuff. I'm sure a lot of you can probably extrapolate and guess, or we've probably told you in Drunken Stupids anyway what we're actually doing. But I don't want to announce anything just yet because I think we'll have stuff to announce very, very soon.
Yeah, hopefully in sort of a bit.
Hopefully in a week or two.
Yeah.
There's going to be some very big, probably the biggest news I've ever actually felt that we've been able to talk about.
Well, I've had a baby, so...
I think this trumps that.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Easily.
Wow.
Actually, to be honest, the news that there is a mini Matt running around shocks a lot of people.
I have a spawn. Yeah, people are weirded out by that. They're very weirded out by the fact that I'm so fucking old. Yeah, the fact that I've been married and the fact that I have a kid. People are like, really?
But
really?
It's more the point that you kind of look like this young nerd sort of thing.
Let's be honest. I don't deserve to breed. I mean, it's just a given.
Genetically, well, actually, it makes no sense from a Darwinian point of view.
No, exactly.
It's not helping the...
It's just wrong. Like, eugenics, everything is against me. So...
But it's funny because people usually assume I'm older than you. I just like to think that's because I've lived.
Yeah, that's one way of putting it. I'd like to think that's because you've abused your body and you deserve to look old.
There's that, and I'm fine with that. I got another hair comment today.
Did you?
As well, yeah. Walking into the bottle store and buying some drinks, which was great. I haven't had a drink for ages.
Yeah.
Now I got hands of money over, got the bourbon sort of thing. The guy just looked at me and goes, and I never get your hair looks terrible. Oh, God, that's horrible. And never, wow, that's an awesome hairstyle. Never either of those two.
Yeah.
It's just this, what's with your hair?
Yeah, yeah.
That's it. They just stare at it. They're just never sure.
It's an interesting hair.
It's
not like good or bad. It's just interesting.
I'm fine with that though, because if it's interesting, it's unique. I like to think there's not many other people in the world with this hairstyle.
No, there's not many people with that hairstyle and a job.
There we go.
There's a lot of people with that hairstyle who wet themselves a lot while sleeping in the streets.
Did I tell you the story how I got pulled over by the cops?
You did.
And the first thing the cop said to me when he came up, I didn't know why I was pulled over. He's just like, "Do you always wear your hair like that?" You bastard! Anyway, we should talk about games and stuff.
Yeah, we really should. Tell me about Wii Sports Resort.
Yeah, Wii Sports Resort. Our copy arrived, and I actually had Yahtzee over today, and we played through.
Oh, yeah.
First of all, it didn't get off to a good start, unfortunately, because Wii Sports Resort forces you to sit through a 3-minute tutorial. This 3-minute tutorial doesn't tell you how to use the Wiimote or anything like that. It tells you how to connect it. Now the process,
What?
as in the Wii Motion Plus peripheral thing to the bottom of the Wii, it tells you how to connect them. I'll give you that tutorial in 3 seconds.
Yeah.
Ready?
I think I could.
You plug the fucker in.
Yeah.
It's not rocket science.
I had a look at it. Like, I'm a fairly logically minded person, and I had a look at this peripheral. Which, by the way, I heard a lot of people say that it has the rubbery thing on it, and then the rubbery and then the rubbery thing, and like that plugs into the bottom of the controller, which has its own rubbery thing, so you have two rubbery things. But in actual fact, it's a replacement rubbery thing.
Mm-hmm.
The whole thing has a giant condom around it.
It does.
That's now the right size with the
And can I say,
Plus.
it actually is kind of hot when you do watch this video, because it's a woman's hand slipping the Wiimote into the plastic jacket.
Nice.
But here's my other issue with this particular video. I know I'm harping on about this video, but it just wasn't a really good start. They spent 2 minutes of this 3-minute video telling you how to put it in. You know what the other minute was?
I'm going to like this.
How to unplug it.
Oh!
How to take it off. You know what? Play the fucking thing in reverse.
Yeah, do the same thing backwards.
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, I saw that thing and I looked at it and went, oh, that goes in there.
Yeah.
There didn't seem to be any more explanation than that
You
needed.
would. They managed to complicate something that's a simple process.
I think, though, there's possibly something to take from this.
What's that?
Nintendo Wii users are fuckwits and Nintendo know it. I don't know. Like, that's just one interpretation I can make.
Right, fair enough.
The Wii is the choice of tards.
No, take away whatever you want from that.
Yeah,
anyway, we did play the game, and we went through all the sports and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
To its credit, it is much more intuitive. There's a sword fighting game thing,
That
and
looks kind of cool.
It is kind of cool. It is because it is completely 1-to-1. It's very it doesn't matter how you hold the sword, it's represented on screen. There's still a lag.
Right.
There's still lag. But I guess in games like this where it's not as critical, it's not really an issue. My only problem with the sword fighting, which I thought would be cool, is you can't block. Like I would have liked it. You can block, but you hold B and it blocks.
Oh.
I hoped that blocking would involve you
putting the sword where the other fucking sword's going.
Yeah, but it kind of sums up this whole thing, and that is, it's fun, but not deep.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
That's a pity.
And there's other things. They reuse golf and bowling.
I saw that.
But it's more advanced, obviously, and more intuitive. Some of them fall really flat. There's a jet ski version, power something or whatever, power boats or whatever.
Yeah.
Which just doesn't quite feel right. You hold the Wiimote and the nunchuck like this, one in each hand, like you're actually controlling a powerboat sort of thing. But it just feels a bit. There's some that feel off, but there's others that feel awesome. Archery is actually really fucking
That's
cool.
Interesting.
And really quite addictive. I actually played that one a bit. That's cool.
That's quite cool because I noticed at E3 both Sony and Nintendo showed an archery thing with their. And I thought it was really interesting that Wii Sports Resort was so cutesy, while Sony's was basically shooting at giant skeletons that were coming at you.
Yeah. But the archery one's really good. There's also another one where you're in a plane, and you've got to get
I saw that,
balloons, and you can shoot and attack the other one, which to me isn't really very beach resorty.
No, as far as beach resort activities go, that's not really Club Med.
Volleyball and surfing and wakeboarding, yay! And shooting people with planes. That's
I want them to do like what's the resorts that people go to? I think it is Club Med, where basically young people go to shag.
Oh yeah. Lord, Club Dread.
What's that?
That was the Broken Lizards one.
The what?
Broken Lizard, the movie. Club Dread. The one with Bill Paxton. After, the Super Troopers?
Yeah, I have no fucking idea what you're talking about now.
It was a resort where all people went, but there was a murderer on the island that killed everyone.
Oh, nice.
So that's what they need. That's what Nintendo needs. They need more blood. They need Wii Sports Resort Murderer Edition.
Well, speaking of which, I'll be really interested to see how it goes with a game like Red Steel, where the control of the sword and the control of the Wii Motion Plus will really come into its own and is necessary for the game.
Yes, but I have one issue, and this is a standing issue with this whole concept of swords and 1-to-1 controllers, and that is that if you swing it, you don't feel the response of it actually hitting something.
No, you don't.
And so even with this sword game on Wii Sports Resort, you still end up flailing around wildly. Like I watched, Lauren and my sister Sarah play it for a bit, and although it is 1-to-1, you still end up just swinging as quickly and as fast as possible.
Yeah.
Because there's no real finesse.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
To it, sort of
That's
thing.
unfortunate. A lost opportunity, but we'll see. Maybe people will do cool things with it now that it's available.
Look, I'm not against the Wii Motion Plus. I think it's cool. It's obviously what the Wii always needed. But I'll be interested to see if what other third-party games actually come out for it.
One I'll be really interested in is Clone Wars Republic Heroes.
Yep.
Note that I got that right. Which is a Star Wars game coming up, featuring the whole Clone Wars bullshit look and everything, but it has a bit of lightsaber action and does support the Wii Motion Plus, which is quite cool.
Developed by Chrome, by the way.
Oh, okay, there
Just
we
to
go.
throw that one in there.
AION. I want to talk about AION.
Of course you
That's
do.
Cool.
Go for it.
I don't know how many people know of AION. AION is a MMORPG coming out in, I believe, September, joining a long list of shit coming out in September. It's an MMORPG that's been out in Korea, China, and I think Japan, other parts of Southeast Asia anyway.
Unusual.
Yeah, it's an Asian MMO, which is not unusual.
No.
God knows there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
And a lot of them never see the light of day here, or if they do, they...
Not that they need to, because they make so much fucking money over there.
Yeah, they
anyway.
do well there. World of Warcraft, for example, does very well over in Asia, but there are other ones that we never even hear of. Lineage being one of them.
Yep.
And AION is made by a company called NCSoft, who are also the people who did Lineage, which is very popular there.
Yes, they did something else.
City of Heroes and Guild Wars.
Yeah, Guild Wars, that's the one, yeah.
So they've kind of earned their stripes as far as MMOs go. Now,
I have Guild Wars over there.
That's thrilling.
There we go, see?
It rocks my world.
Yeah.
I've been playing the beta over the weekend, and I must admit, I've been really, really impressed. It's been very good.
Yeah?
Really, really impressive. What particularly impressed me, and I didn't expect to, I knew it was good looking. I knew it looked shiny.
Which usually means that it's not going to run very well.
Exactly. Normally that's kind of... My PC is not the newest thing. That's my girlfriend.
Oh, God, you're... What the hell is that ringtone?
It's the Doom song. Gur's Doom song.
Of course it is.
Anyway, the
game, AION.
Yeah, I was going somewhere. Oh, yeah. Things like Warhammer and Age of Conan, they look really good, but they ran like a dog. My machine is a kind of a year-old gaming laptop. Mm-hmm. And I started running AION, and I was really surprised to find that it ran playably well. Looked really good and ran playably well. And then after having a bit more of a look at the details, I found that it was actually running at 1600 by 1050.
Sweet.
Which is significantly higher than I would ever have even World of Warcraft.
Cool.
So once I turned it down, I was really quite surprised to find that it ran exceptionally well. Never dropped under 30 frames a second.
Yep.
And usually closer to 40. And looked so much better than World of Warcraft still.
Well, here's a question for you, and I guess this is the main question for someone like me that doesn't give a shit. How does it compare to World of Warcraft? Is it potentially able to pull people off World of Warcraft, not just for a limited 1-2 month period of time like Age of Conan and those kind of ones, but a bit more permanently perhaps?
Well, that'll be the interesting question. I know people who are quitting World of Warcraft to play it. I do already know people who will be quitting. But for how long? That is the question.
Well, that's
and Warhammer and Age of Conan, you're right. They did pull people, but they didn't keep them.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I haven't seen of AION, and I'll be really interested to see how that goes, is how it goes long term.
Yeah.
Because it's really impressive and really fun at first, but
Yeah.
after a year, after 2, 3, 4 years, what's left? What's there to do? Because I haven't seen any of the raiding and the instancing and all that kind of stuff, and I'll be interested to see how that works.
Yep, of course you will.
But I'm willing to give it another go. But to anyone who can get into the beta, I advise doing so and giving it a look. It's a closed beta at this point.
Are we going to do an Australian Gamer Guild in there?
Yeah, we probably
will.
Faction.
Okay. But don't worry, because like World of Warcraft, I'll join up, get my character to level 5, and then never play it again.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
One thing that's really cool that you would actually like too is that at level 10 and up, you can fly.
Sweet!
Your character gets...
What, anywhere or just on set paths?
Well, I was disappointed because I believed that it was everywhere, but it's quite limited in where it lets you fly. It's kind of only around... Like the big city in the area, you can't fly.
Oh.
But and then when I went to like a new area, then I could fly, but I could only fly in the town there. And once I got out of the town, I couldn't fly anymore. I'm like, why not? Why can't I fly here? I want to fly here.
There's certain flying restrictions outside of certain towns.
They're arbitrary.
It's a policy.
They're arbitrary restrictions, and they take away half the fun of the game. Maybe those are...
It is the law.
Well, it is, and it's kind of shits me a bit, but still. But the flying is quite fun. You have a button to like open your wings, to like unfurl your wings.
Mm-hmm.
Another one to glide.
Cool.
And one to land, to close your wings. And you'll have separate attacks and moves for in-air, because you have mid-air combat, which is pretty fun.
Yep.
But what's particularly entertaining is that you can use those varied assorted combinations while flying. So you can just go really high up and then just drop. And then unfurl your wings just before you hit the ground.
That sounds like it would look cool.
It does. It looks awesome. I've seen people do it, and I've done it myself. It's hilariously fun.
Sweet. Well, going off from that boring MMO sort of thing.
Whatever.
But going on just to something else as ridiculously over the top with wings and flying and stupid characters. Final Fantasy. It feels like a good segue. Dissidia. Those of you that hadn't heard of it, now I actually hadn't heard of it until recently either.
No, same. It's just been announced quite recently.
It's a Final Fantasy fighting game.
On the PSP.
On the PSP that features characters from the previous Final Fantasy games. Now,
an interesting idea, but I have to say, I think there's a bit of unbalance happening here. I don't know about you, but I remember playing the Final Fantasy games, and it took 3 of me to kill one of him.
Yeah.
How am I going to do that all by myself?
First of all, I should say that it's actually got an Australian launch date, which I think is September.
September 2nd or something like that.
3rd of September.
3rd, yep.
We watched there's a cinematic trailer for it, which has Squaresoft, Unix?
Square Enix.
Unix is wrong. Unix?
Yeah, Unix is an operating system for nerds.
Square Enix, obviously they're always fantastic with CG cutscenes and things like that.
It does continue the usual Square Enix theme of incredible overdramatic cutscenes, followed by a game that looks kind of alright.
Yeah, well, it's on the PSP, so it's limited to how good it can actually look. But the cutscenes, they feature the main characters from the previous Final Fantasy games. Like you've got Squall and Cloud and Tidus and the ones from Final Fantasy 9. I didn't play that one, but you did.
Yeah, I did.
The main guy with the lion tail and all. So you've got the heroes on one side, and the villains on the other side, like Seifer and
Sephiroth and
Sephiroth and
Seifer was
I don't think he was there, but he wasn't.
No, I didn't see him either.
I've got 2 issues with this so far. One is that there's a distinct lack of the female characters, it seems, in the good guys. I would have expected at least Tifa.
Yeah, I was really surprised to see Tifa, and I assumed that her breasts are unlockable somehow.
Right, and I would have assumed to find what's the other chick that was in 10 and X2? Yuna. I would have expected to see Yuna.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, on the other side, the villains, the bad guys, the evil guys,
fucking generic.
They're just not. I mean, I know, like, okay, Sephiroth, of course, iconic.
Done. Yep.
But a lot of the other ones, I'm sure they were the big evil baddies. I don't remember them. I don't remember half of them.
No, they kind of just looked like a guy in big armor.
Yeah.
And another guy in big armor.
Yeah.
And this guy who's kind of a monster looking.
It's not quite as...
And a chick.
Iconic. I don't think they needed to do that. It's like Mario doesn't have you fighting Goombas in Super Smash Bros. Brawl sort of thing. It's you feature the main characters from your series.
Well, that's but when we saw a video, it was Cloud versus Tidus, and they're both goodies. So it's not like you have to fight against someone from the opposite faction. It just makes a more dramatic video.
I got to say, it really weirded me out seeing Squall fighting Sephiroth.
Yeah, that was quite weird.
That's just like bizarre. Seeing all these characters from this Final Fantasy universe in the same cutscene. I mean, there would have been Final Fantasy fanboys out there just jizzing.
Yeah, I highly recommend, like, even if you're not at all interested in the game, which looks like it could be potentially fun, especially for fanboys, even if you're not interested, just go and have a look at the opening CG, because it is very impressive. Just load that and fap, really. Why not?
The game itself, there's some footage as well on YouTube. It's interesting because it's on the PSP and it's a fighting game, which means that you don't have that issue of having to have the screen focus on two players at the same time.
Yeah, it's a lot more third person.
It is. It feels much more like your boss battles in a third person action game because it follows directly behind you, and the environments seem really interactive as well.
Yeah.
But again, it's on the PSP, so I really don't care all that much. You probably might.
Well, my thoughts are the real trick with it is going to be finding someone else who owns a PSP. Sorry, Sony. Speaking of sorry, Sony.
Hey, there we go. Oh, we're on top of the segues today,
I know.
man.
Speaking
Segue
of,
away.
Sorry, Sony. Sony have received a lot of criticism, most recently from Activision,
Didn't they say they were pulling out support for?
They said they may have to. That if
Right.
Sony didn't drop the price of the PS3, they may have to pull their support from development.
Yeah.
Quite a few people have said various things along the lines of the PS3 is too expensive.
Yep.
I've said the same thing myself,
Yes.
and pretty much everyone I know.
I think
has
anyone that ever bought a PS3 has probably said that as well.
Sony's European boss, I believe it was, whose name has escaped me, has hit back with a response to these suggestions.
Yes, I haven't heard this, but yep.
Turns out we're wrong.
Oh. Right.
Yeah, we're wrong.
Did he expand on that?
Yeah, we're thinking too short term.
Right.
We need to think long term.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Because short term, that's too short.
Yeah.
And they're thinking long term.
Did he define what these time periods actually are?
Well, he talked about the 10-year plan and that it's only been out for 3 years and so on.
Yep.
What he seems to have missed, and it's interesting that this is the kind of usual arrogance we normally used to get from Sony, but they seem to have improved lately.
Mm-hmm.
What he seems to be forgetting is that they're coming last. They're losing.
Right.
When your strategy is X and it doesn't fucking work, do a different strategy, you cockbite. Don't you think? I mean, it's not working. They need to sell more units so they can get more. Well, more game sales, which is what it's all about.
Well, the excuse they always used to use for the high price of the PS3 was Blu-ray, and the fact that Blu-ray was so expensive to manufacture and all this kind of stuff. Which, to be fair, when the system came out, you know what? Valid, fair enough. But there are a shitload of Blu-ray players out.
They're cheap now.
And they are cheap. They are cheaper than the PS. There are some that are cheaper than a PS3.
There are some that are cheaper than a PS3 and an Xbox 360.
Yeah.
Sorry, cheaper than a Blu-ray player and an Xbox 360.
Yeah.
So that pretty much obliterates that argument.
Yeah, and I mean, look, the way console manufacturers work, although, the Xbox 360 that you bought on launch is actually a different version than the one that you go to the shops and buy.
No.
Now, they subtly upgrade the hardware and change the hardware. The original Xbox, I think it went through something like 4 different DVD drive iterations.
Yeah, they'll either find a cheaper manufacturing process or get a part that's slightly cheaper. Mostly it's about cheaper.
Yeah.
The more they do of a unit, the cheaper they can make it. And over time, it stops costing them as much money to make.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is kind of the way it's got to work. The PS3, I do remember they used to lose like 150 or something a unit.
Yeah, they lose a lot of money on their hardware and make it up in software. That's how it's always worked. But the PS3 is so... Yeah, he's right. It's 3 years after it's launched. I would expect a price drop.
There has been a price drop.
Yeah?
Let's not forget it was about $1,000 at first.
Yeah, okay, right, yeah.
So there has been a price drop for it. But that took it down to a high price from an insanely ridiculous, insulting price.
I get questions from people quite often. I'm thinking of getting a console. What should I get? The answer is always really simple. It's like, and if they have a basic understanding of the consoles, well, I mean, there's the PlayStation 3 or the 360 or a Wii. And he was like, oh well, I used to have a PlayStation 2. I'm like, well, you could buy an Xbox 360 and a Wii and get most of the games you can get on a PlayStation 3. Yeah. Which, unfortunately, is just where it's at.
The real selling point for the PlayStation 3 is its exclusives. Those are the only things that's the only thing that differentiates it from the Xbox 360.
And Blu-ray.
Yeah, but we've kind of already dismissed that as an issue.
Okay.
That being said, Blu-ray has come into its own recently, and
Absolutely.
it's becoming a lot more available. I noticed that this week's FHM, which I bought for the articles,
Of course.
and boobs, was, as far as I can tell, completely sponsored by Sony, and it was flogging Blu-ray like, oh fuck.
Yep.
Which is interesting because you have like article about Blu-ray and what to get and how it works and all that kind of stuff. Then the next page is a giant PlayStation 3 ad. There's been obviously a bit of bit of positioning happening there.
Mm-hmm.
But aside from that, aside from Blu-ray, which is I think of dubious benefit, except that in that you can buy the players so cheap now.
Sure.
Those exclusives are all that matter, and there aren't really that many of them. There are some good ones.
There are some good ones,
enough.
and they are getting better. And especially their E3 presentation, I thought they had some good stuff. You know, it was really good. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. And I think it's naive of Sony to think that they can continue going on without a price drop. Everyone expected an announcement of a price drop
at E3.
Maybe not at E3, but at the very least Tokyo Game Show.
Tokyo Game Show, which is when again?
In September.
August? September.
Yeah. Mid-September, that is. So, look, if they don't announce a price drop, then I think a lot of people are going to be like, just frustrated.
If not a price drop, they need to announce something like the Slim, because they've got to revitalise that product.
If they announce the Slim, there should be a price drop for the...
You would think so, because it is lesser hardware, but apparently the rumours that we've heard are that they're bringing it out at Tokyo Game Show, but not a price drop.
We'll see what happens, but yeah, that's Sony being Sony.
While we're ragging on Sony, Sony announced their Vidzone service recently.
Yep.
And I was quite enthusiastic about that, because I've always quite liked video clips.
You know there were 27 new Powderfinger songs announced on the service a week after release?
I did hear that.
Yeah.
Vidzone is fucked. It's the most fucking retarded ass-backwards piece of shit ever put together by a Down syndrome kid I've ever seen in my fucking life. Honestly, it's the worst interface. I don't know what fuckwit came up with it, but they clearly never fucking used the thing. I don't know what they're thinking, but it's so retarded.
You're so cute when you're angry, Matt.
Whatever. It's funny because I've been sitting there like doing some work and stuff, and my girlfriend Talia has been around, and she'll be using it to flick through to find songs, and just watching her play with this service, watch videos, and swear like a trooper at the retarded fucking interface is highly entertaining.
I find that interesting because I've had a bit of experience now working as a developer doing user interface systems. And it's interesting the amount of time and effort and process that actually goes on behind that. Probably not the...
Unless you're Sony, in which case you just shit it out and then go to lunch.
I don't understand that because, I mean, usually user interface systems, they get tested, retested, going through focus groups, and they have to structure them from the ground up to actually behave in a way that they're supposed to.
Here's an example of using the interface.
Yep.
You go in and you go, oh, I don't really want to see any of the ones that are on the charts at the moment because I'm not that interested in Pink or Lady Gaga. Mm-hmm. I'm going to search for my favourite band.
But hold on, come on, Lady Gaga. Her boobs go on fire.
Yeah, fireworks come out of her boobs. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah. Sorry.
I've only had one girlfriend who did that.
Didn't mean to interrupt your train of thought there.
Anyway, you go to the search feature to find a band you like.
Yep.
And it comes up immediately with an interface that says A.
Mm-hmm.
And you can select a thing. But it doesn't let you actually pick something. It just goes, you have chosen A.
Mm-hmm. And
then lists everything that fucking starts with A.
Yep.
In the meantime, you can't import any text. You can't actually select what you want to do. Like if you want to look for, let's say, The Greats, it says, no, you're looking for A. When we're done searching for everything that starts with A in Sony's catalogue,
I see.
Then you can start selecting some shit.
So you can't hit search after you've typed an actual search option?
You don't get an option to type.
Right.
It starts straight away with A selected and then searches for fucking A.
Man, that would be really frustrating.
Yeah,
I'd be really frustrated if I was you.
So then you go to The Greats. You eventually get some ability to input back because it's finished searching for A.
Mm-hmm.
And so you go through and you start typing in Greats, Grates, and it says none found. And you go, weird.
Right. Oh, The Greats.
And it turns out that they're listed under The Greats, which is just fucking interface design, database design 101. Like, if you're going to have people able to search, don't have them have to search for the first word.
Sure.
for a start. Secondly, don't sort under the. That's a given.
What about A?
Also doesn't count. Certain
What
words
if
are
it was like
deprecated.
a beautiful mind?
No, it should be under B.
Really?
Yep. But that being said, if they had a different sorting system, that would be fine.
Okay.
But it should still fucking find it.
It
If you
should.
type in beautiful mind and it doesn't find a beautiful mind, then someone needs to fucking die.
Right.
Anyway,
Yes.
I've used this interface.
You're
There's a lot
really
of rage
angry
happening
about
here.
this, man. Yeah, go on.
Then let's say you find the greats.
Yes.
You go, oh, the greats.
Excellent.
Silly me.
Yep.
Then you click on the greats.
Yep.
Because now it's found
It
the
is.
greats. It's matched your search. And you
That
go,
makes sense.
click. And it goes, there is nothing matching your search. And you go, then why did you fucking show me that listing, you cunts?
Okay. Hostility down a notch.
Why is it listing things it doesn't have? Do me a favour, Sony.
Because
list the shit you do
There
have
is a
instead.
band called The Greats.
That's really good to know. If you don't have their songs, then fuck off. Also, when you send a press release saying that you have tracks by Tori Amos,
Yep.
you should fucking have Tori Amos.
What do you mean?
They didn't have any.
Really?
Their press release listed Tori Amos as one of the bands
Is that
were
an
signed.
international press release or a...
Well, I don't think it's limited to Australia. I don't think the service is limited to Australia. In any case, I searched for Tori Amos pretty much straight up as soon as it came out, and there were none in there. Did not find Tori. Yes, I did search under Tori, not Amos.
Right, well, yeah, okay.
And Amos.
Right.
Neither was found.
What about just Tor?
Eventually, I did. Now, more recently, Tori Amos is available, which is like great and everything. But there's only one song, so they've just kind of added one
Which song?
Something about England.
Yay.
England. I can't
There
remember.
you go.
Anyway, the other thing that's really fun about the interface is that as you go through, let's say you do want something that starts with A, so you enter A. I don't know why you do that, apart from the fact that the interface is so fucking shit.
Sure. We've established this point.
Then you scroll all the way down and you click on the thing you want to see, because you might want to just browse, for example.
Yep.
You click on the one you've browsed to, and then it says no songs found. Then you go back, and it goes right back to the start of the list that doesn't scroll fast.
Wow.
So you've got to kind of go through the whole scrolling process again. It's just really inelegant. And the other thing that really frustrated me,
yes,
and that I
apart
think,
from everything else
apart
so
from
far.
everything about it,
Keep going, Matt. Yep.
no Blu-ray remote support. The remote that you have that you can use any part of the interface for the PlayStation 3 does not work in this service.
I think you should write an angry letter to Sony.
I think Sony should lick my balls.
There we go.
The reason this is so frustrating
Yes.
is because there is excellent content and the service works really well.
Right.
When you can use it, it works really well. And I don't know why they made such ass-backwards, idiotic, basic interface design issues. I don't know why Sony failed at interfaces to the degree they do.
I've heard you complain about this multiple times, though, when you bought a PlayStation 3, a PSP. You are constantly bitching and whining, complaining, and validly so by the sounds of it, about Sony's UI. So
The frustrating thing is I complain about a lot of things Sony does, but the instant I say anything about Microsoft, everyone says I'm a Sony fanboy. I don't really get that.
Well, I don't know, because you have a PSP?
Well, that doesn't make me a fanboy.
Anyway, that's wow. We've harped on about that for like 10 minutes. Have you got to have your system?
No.
You feel good now?
No, I'm going to write an angry letter to the editor.
Look, let's end this podcast off. There's one more thing I want to talk about. Because you've spoken about things,
yeah, I'm gonna have
that
a
I don't
snooze.
give a shit about.
Yeah, fair enough.
So we're turning this around. There was a Twitter post. There's the first sign for you to turn off.
Twitter. Yeah,
I love Twitter, man.
Twitter.
I love it. I'm obsessed with it. Yeah.
Twitter is for fuckwits to say stupid things to other people who are also fuckwits. If you happen to use Twitter, I don't mean you. Yes, I do.
But it was announced on EA UK, I think, their Twitter account, that CNC4 is in development. And here's a link to the press release. Unfortunately, that particular link went nowhere, and that particular Twitter post got pulled down very quickly, but not before it got picked up by, I think Joystick actually picked it up and took a screenshot of it and said, there, it's proof. I think their Twitter obviously jumped the gun, probably just a little bit, and I guess it's no real surprise that CNC4 is probably in development, but it's nice to know that it is officially, even if it's not official yet, but it kind of is.
In other news, the sun will come up tomorrow. Like, why is it that the announcement that a game that everyone knew was coming is such a big deal.
Because
like Fable 3, oh my god, it's coming out. Whoops.
Yeah, but I don't care about Fable 3, whereas I do care about CNC 4. So any news about the game is like, cool, it's happening. You know, some games, it takes ages for a sequel to actually come out.
Yeah, that's true.
Admittedly, with EA, it's every year.
Yeah.
You know, and I would expect nothing less, but, you know.
Do you know what I'd like to see?
What would you like to see?
CNC Music Factory. My god, that was obscure. Sorry.
Everybody Dance Now? No.
I think something like that. Something like that. But don't you think that would be an awesome
game?
What?
I can out-obscure you here. They used the CNC Music Factory Everybody Dance Now music in the trailer for the Mario Brothers movie.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
There you go.
That was an
awesome
good movie.
Yeah, how good's that?
Yeah, it's pretty random shit, dude.
But yeah, look, we've gone over time, but it's nice to be doing a podcast again.
It is.
The people who have asked, multiple people, I like how people, I probably already said this, people post in the forums, they're like, hey, what's happening with the new podcast, you bastards? It's like, don't abuse us because we haven't done a podcast. You know, we want to, we're trying, just chill the fuck out.
I wanted to say something else, if I may.
You may. You have the floor, Matt. Go for
it. This weekend was my first anniversary with Talia.
Yep.
1 year together, and I just wanted to say happy anniversary to her and tell her that, nah, fuck it.
So, what did you two do on your anniversary?
We were going to do something really nice, like go to Montville, a sort of local, nearby rural area, and hire a cabin, and we ended up being really poor. Yep. We both just had no money, so we kind of just chilled out at home and watched DVDs and stuff. We actually watched True Blood.
Oh, the one where Anna Paquin gets naked.
Does she?
Yeah.
Ooh.
There you go.
Well,
that's a reason to keep watching.
No, it's not. It's not enough. That's fucking shit. If you thought I hate Vidzone, wait till you hear me talk about True Blood. And to anyone who told me I should see it, go fuck yourself.
All right. We're cutting this one off here because otherwise we'll spend 10 minutes about Matt bitching and complaining about something else.
Actually, it's not that bad. It's just basically Twilight in the Deep South, which is not really what I wanted to spend my evenings doing.
Twilight and rednecks. Awesome.
Exactly, yeah.
That's exactly
Twilight
what
and a gator.
But yeah, look, thanks everyone for tuning in. Will we do a podcast next week? Hopefully.
Hopefully.
Bear with us. Stick around. Australian Gamer will keep kicking on. We'll update it and we'll be more involved. And there's a lot of new cool stuff that we'll be talking about very, very soon, hopefully.
Indeed.
So yeah, anything else?
Nah, I'm good.
Okay, we're good. Thanks everyone for tuning in. We'll talk to you again soon.
Bye-bye.